Welcome, everybody, to the show. Joining us is our co-host and fellow traveler, Dan, the Dan Noodles Man, the Champollion of wargaming. Dan, how's it going tonight?
Well, I've succumbed to the nefarious actions of spraying my cat with a water bottle, which goes against my moral being.
Well, he's not going to be mortally wounded by the water bottle. There's people that say it's not a good technique, but if it's, you got to do something, right?
I feel like I have lost.
Anyway, our topic tonight is, as wargamers, what other things are we interested in that we spend our limited free time doing? Some of us play golf. Some of us might play chess or cards or something like that. I have frequently maintained, Dan, of course, has his miniatures and diorama building gig going on right now. I have always made, or consistently, I don't know about always, made the assertion that I'm just games. I don't have time for anything else. But in point of fact, I get distracted by a lot of other things. Currently, my current distraction is learning ancient Greek, where I'm about a week into it and still figuring out the alphabet. So that's where I'm at with that particular hobby.
What are you saying? You're saying that you're into it. It's only a week and you haven't figured the alphabet yet, and
I'm still reinforcing some of the rarer letters like psi and chi and some things, or the letters that look like English letters but are in fact completely different from English letters.
Christ, man, because in a week, if you learn the ancient Greek alphabet, I think that's pretty good there, Artie.
Well, okay, I guess. I mean, I'd be expected, if I was in a college class, I'd be expected to have absorbed it probably by the end of the first week. But if I was paying for a college class, I'd be putting more than 45 minutes a day. I'm putting into it right now. So,
Danny Seckery, my nemesis, he's a administrator here.
Yeah. Why, do we have somebody that needs to be removed?
Absolutely. His name is Adam Misnick, and he says, "Go Sabres."
No,
Get
he's
that
good.
Guy out of here.
He's good. I'm a big fan of the Sabres because at one point they had Miroslav Satan on their roster, which I appreciated that they had that guy. Stonewall is a golf course superintendent and competitive amateur golfer. That does totally qualify. Absolutely qualifies.
Absolutely.
The other thing, I've got a lot of books and I do a fair amount of reading. Most of my reading is either history or science fiction or fantasy. At the moment, I'm not reading. Well, I am, but it's in ancient Greek, so it's going real slow. And I've got a lot of books on topics other than that. I've got some old pulp reprints and things like that. Those are fun. I've got a decent number of science fiction and fantasy paperbacks and things like that. Lately, really, I say lately, but really this has been probably the last year or so. I've been super duper into ancient stuff. So
is there a community around you that's ancient Greek community enthusiasts?
I haven't looked into that at all. Michael Lynch runs an internet radio station with several shows by DJs in a few states. Fun stuff. That's awesome. That's awesome. Rob Taylor cycles, which sounds like a great idea to stay, not an old man fat ass shape.
Yeah,
like I am. Stonewall also coaches Olympic weightlifting and CrossFit. So he's healthy as a bull.
Aren't we a seal? Aren't we?
Yeah, no kidding. Joe Hammond says everything else is a waste of time. So I can sympathize with that. But the fact is that I, among other people, get distracted by stuff. And Slagonic's a hiker on Battlefield. I think it does, actually. I mean, if even just the reading of the history it kind of qualifies as a separate thing, because there are people who do that and have never heard of war games, and people who play war games who have never read a history book. So
a beekeeper, that's cool.
Great company builds models and terrain and paints models. Paul Dangle, a beekeeper. That's actually kind of awesome.
I think that's super cool. Save the planet. Cool.
Slagonic somehow has time to paint miniatures. I'm not sure how that's working out, but
What a
I like music, but I don't know that I don't have like listening time where I just like listen to music. If I'm listening to music, I'm doing something else.
Meandering Mike's one of those nuts that knows everything about everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. We are separated at birth, me and Mike. We have different knowledge sets. He knows more about them than I do, though.
But
he has them all.
It's the information retention that I don't have.
Mm-hmm. Model railroading, says Michael Conley. You would not be the only wargamer who has that as a secondary hobby. That's for sure.
I think that's a bit more expensive than scale modeling and minis.
I have no idea. I mean, it certainly could be. Certainly could be. I got an old buddy of mine from like the days when I was known as like an MMORPG blogger, who's got a YouTube channel. I've been subscribed to him the whole time, and I started watching. He's an old friend, right? So I started watching his videos about the Gundam model kits. And holy crap, if I didn't start thinking about getting into Gundam model kits, a hobby I have absolutely 0 milliseconds for.
Look at Mongo FX8 or
Fly fishing. That's awesome, actually.
Okay, fly fishing
models.
Artie, let's go back to the fly fishing thing. Whiskey, what in fly fishing? Whiskey, beer, and fly fishing. Okay, Mongo, look where it got me, whiskey, beer, and fly fishing. I was so into fly fishing that I was published as a Atlantic salmon fly tire. Those are real flies. Took me about a week each to make. And they're blacker flies. Blacker and the Victorian guy, I forget his freaking name. But anyways, I used to do that shit, man. What?
Okay. Well, it's my opinion that people with no hobbies retire and then immediately die.
Yeah. So, I can't die.
Travel is a legitimate thing. I mean, to engage, and I just can't be doing any of that right now, other than the occasional convention. Blue Ronin says, board games, video games, flying planes, photography. I've done a little bit of photography. It's been a long time, though. We're talking like high school me. Did a little bit of photography, and at that point, it was including the film development and stuff like that, which you could like do in your basement back at the time. Nobody does that now. I wouldn't say nobody, but only like the super serious people are going to do that now. Grandkids, I'd say no, because they're not really a recreational activity.
Actually, they are.
Grandchildren might be a recreational activity. Children, absolutely not. Perfidious Albert has built an extensive library around World War I, World War II, and modern. That's certainly nice. Most of my books, I've got a fair number of ancient history books, a decent number, and okay, let me reframe this, because my good number of Civil War books is probably chump change compared to a serious collector of Civil War books. I've probably got about 20 Civil War books, which is, that's kind of a lot. And the legend himself is here.
Artie, go back to Perfidious Albion. Where am I being facetious by saying that's a little bit connected to war games?
Well, I've already established that. I think reading about, I guess if you're just collecting them and they look nice on the shelf in your living room, I guess that's a hobby too. But one should, and I'm as guilty of that as anybody, right? But one should try to read the books that they have.
Danny Seckery. I wanted to get into basket weaving because my ex-wife was a wicked basket weaver, and I couldn't focus on the in, out. Did I just say out or in? Start over.
It's okay.
Out. I couldn't do it.
Well, I can understand that.
And you see, Danny, you know how to get to me.
Greg for Pico Armor volunteers with a nonprofit that gives out music scholarships to high school graduates to study music in college. That's awesome, and both awesome and laudable. Adam Misnick does community theater. Awesome. Mike doth protest too much. If I've been corrected more by any one individual in all the live streams I've done, it has been Mike. So Fritz Albie's trying to rebuild a music collection. I did that. I subscribed to Spotify.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty good. Not absolutely everything is on Spotify, but it's a good. I mean, I use it for hours and hours a day. I get my $15 or whatever it costs for the family membership.
I gave away all my albums, and I started collecting it in the 70s, man.
Well, I ripped all my CDs, well, at least the ones I wanted to keep, and then took the physical CDs back and cassettes at the time up to Record Exchange and got some cash. Got like, I don't know, $200 in cash for them, which at the time, considering this was 30 years ago, so I am not a physical media collector of movies or music or anything like that. I do have a few of each, but I'm not.
You didn't buy an album, sit on your bed, listen to it, and open up the jacket and read it.
in the mid 80s, sure. This would have been in the mid to late 90s though, so I've been kind of off of physical music and movies and stuff since then. Fire Must does sim flying. The only one of those I can really say I've even attempted to do on any serious level is Elite Dangerous, which is a spaceflight sim.
What kind of scale modeling? Fire Must.
Michael Pratt does home theater. Jeff Wheeler does. He's involved with a couple science fiction conventions. I can recall that. Michael Lynch writes original music and plays piano, guitar, and bass, and trying to learn mandolin. There you go, Dan.
I'm trying to learn mandolin. You're gonna pick that up easy. Come on.
This man. Okay, I'll take your word for that.
Absolutely, the guy plays guitar and bass.
You know, in terms, Agri Day says he needs hobbies that take up less physical space, which I sympathize with, right? Even though I'm nowhere near that. The best hobby to do that takes up the minimal amount of physical space is a hobby you can do on your laptop. So, because then you're only consuming the laptop. And you could do, video games or whatever.
Wow.
And Fairmus also plays guitar, piano, Irish whistles, and attempting to compose for orchestra. How about that, Dan?
I used to watch the Irish Rovers being in Canada, and every Sunday.
Scooby Dooby Noob says poker card collecting.
I don't understand.
Is that I'm not sure I get that either. Does that mean you're collecting fancy decks of poker cards, or that you are collecting in some metaphorical way all the money at the poker table? Danny Secretary does RC planes. My father-in-law is big into RC planes, actually. Yeah, and astrophotography. Yeah, if you're serious about that, holy shit, that costs money.
I'd love to be there and pick your brain on astrophotography.
I am way too we're in sort of a semi-rural immediate vicinity, but we're too close to the big city to really get good viewing. Plus my backyard is full of trees. So there's that. I have no sight lines to the horizon in any direction.
How heavy is your smog? Can you see the moon at least?
Yes, I can see the moon. College admissions counseling. I don't know if this counts as a hobby, John, although you have gotten to travel quite a bit through that. And I could claim to have done that in the past as well for former employers. Who sent me to a number of places inside and a couple outside the U.S.
John's a practical guy.
Yeah. Oh, and Fairmus has also been dabbling on the violin and played French horn when he was young.
Love the French horn. Love the violin.
I prefer the German horn, the one that's like 12 feet long and they play in the Alps.
Yeah, but you're never going to get that melancholic feel of a French horn.
I don't get me wrong. I admire the French horn as an instrument. After all, one of my favorite movie soundtracks heavily uses the French horn.
I mean, listen to Richard Strauss, The Four Last Leaders with Jesse Norman. You'll hear some nice French horn, man.
No, I'm thinking of Basil Polidorus, actually, but okay. Although the Strausses are good stuff.
Oh, I love
it. We have actually established that I think it is. I don't know that I have thousands of books, but I mean, if we count RPGs, then maybe I do. But like books. I don't know that I have thousands, but I wouldn't shock me if I have several hundred, up to maybe 500 or 600. I don't know. I haven't counted them anytime recently. Yes, Perfidious Albion, Russian Front history. David Glance is where I go for my Russian Front stuff.
Russian war history. He says declassified. I mean, Russian war history. How factual is it? They didn't.
Well, what he's referring to is as general opening of Soviet archives after the fall of the Soviet Union, and a lot more information what was made available or became available in that period than was available, say, during the Cold War. So a lot of this is why a lot of war games that cover modern hypothetical topics, or I guess pre-modern at this point, the NATO versus Warsaw Pact stuff, have struggled in some cases with like trying to update their orders of battle. There's a bit of controversy about that in at least one case. Compass's Third World War, it has been talked about, and some people have expressed a desire to have an order of battle for that game that is updated to the latest historical research for the period. It is my personal position that the game works well as it is, extremely well, in fact, and it's a personal favorite, and that an updated order of battle will, in fact, wreck it. So I'm not a fan of that particular idea.
When was your game printed?
Late 80s, 86, 87, 88, something like that.
It's out of date.
Well, of course it is, but it's a great game. I don't, it's out of date. Who cares? It's a hypothetical topic.
No, I get it. What's the most up-to-date Russian game in terms of historicity?
Are we talking about World War II or hypothetical?
Yes. World War II.
I don't know that I can name a specific title, but I will give a shout out to Carl Fung and his awesome order of battle work and other historical research that have gone into a large number of games that have come from the gamers side of MMP. Top quality stuff. So if we look at something like It Never Snows, which is not super duper recent, but more recent than like Highway to the Reich, you'll see vastly different orders of battle there, because research on that particular topic has always been kind of difficult anyway, because a lot of the German stuff is just ad hoc forces that got scrapped together and sent in to fighting. So it's real messy history.
The reason why I say that is because Bruno Sinigalio, with his Time for Trumpets, him being a wicked Battle of the Bulge historian, which I think his father fought in, would be the most up-to-date Battle of the Bulge game.
Well, that's several years old at this point, but I will say that Battle of the Bulge in particular is probably the one World War II battle that has had the most legwork done on it inside wargaming. I don't think this surprise anybody. As far as ironing out ironclad orders of battle and stuff like that. It would be an interesting exercise to say compare the OB in Time for Trumpets to say the OB in the Decision version of Wacht am Rhein, which I have played, because they're at the same scale. But I will not, even though I have both games, or for that matter, to take a look at Danny Parker's Last Gamble and see how that differs, although that is a slightly higher level scale. But you could compare that to something like the Simonich Ardennes 44 or damn it, it's the one from Compass that everybody's Bitterwoods. Although it originally came out from Avalon Hill, of course. So yeah, I mean, I would certainly put Bruno up there on a number of topics, actually, not even just that one.
Really?
Yeah, I would say Bruno's a top guy for like Roman Judea and stuff like that too.
No way. Okay.
With a name like Sinigalio, it's a shock that he is into Roman history. I mean, come on, Dan, let's get real.
Yeah, but Sinigalio ain't Roman at all. Let me tell you.
Well, it's just recent Roman. That's all.
And so, you mentioned Mark Simonich. Man, this guy's done a lot of battles in World War II. Is he some sort of like genius, this guy?
Well, I mean, the thing that's Mark Simonich has done a number of those operational World War II games, mostly but not exclusively through GMT. There's an older one that came out from, I think, Rhino or something like that. And that's The Legend Begins. But he's covered a lot of the big topics of World War II at this point, with the Bulge at Normandy and Market Garden, and the drive on Stalingrad with Stalingrad 42. And he's working on the Italian stuff.
Yeah.
So, but what really stands out to me with Mark Simonich is that when you get a Simonich game, it's kind of a top to bottom Simonich production, where he did the game and the art and the map and the counters and I don't know about the box, but like all the graphics on the interior of the game are all him too. So
I've never heard bad press. I've never heard bad press.
Triple. Oh, you have actually, because you've complained about it. He won't come on the show.
And you know what? He was in Montreal last weekend. He was in Montreal with Volko, Paradis, and where was I? I was sitting on my couch playing a video game.
Oh dear, what video game?
I don't even know the name of the bloody game.
You tell me Super Smash Brothers, I'm going to reach to the internet.
Are you kidding me? It's first-person shooter. I want to see bloody guys.
Okay, that's I guess that's acceptable. Yeah, so partly this was me too. I mean, my wife was not into having a big wall of movies in the living room. So I compromised on that, and now you can buy a lot of things digitally. I don't buy a lot of movies digitally, but
yeah,
you can normally, just watch them somewhere, presuming you're subscribed to the right one of the 75 different streaming services that are available now.
I got a shitload of DVDs, old horror, midnight movies, Hammer horrors, all kinds.
We're getting a little close to current world situation here, Great Company. I got to tell you, that sounds like not the craziest idea I've heard all week, actually. And very much played Elite Dangerous. Oh, cool. Did a YouTube video series called Dark in Space. Folks, look that up. That sounds awesome. I also watch a lot of YouTube, but I also do watch a lot of YouTube while I'm doing other things. So the drone tech, yeah, that's true. You could it's been the case for a lot. You can do pretty cool things with drones. I'll put it that way.
Well, the drone tech is interesting now, eh?
Yeah, not something I'm particularly into getting into, if you know what I'm saying.
Mate, there's a lot of money to be made.
So, yeah, Glance has been, he's got there's a bunch of Glance material on YouTube as well. Mike Berticelli coached 22 seasons of football and is into sailing and participated in many a regatta. And now his wife's into horses, which means he has to be into horses too.
Well, sure, Mike. Everybody's a multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah, horses. Yeah, I'm not getting into horses. I don't care what my wife says.
I mean,
because that's like, well, I mean, if we hit the Powerball or so, that's different. Then she can do whatever she wants.
Hey, man.
But
horses are like big dogs. They're wonderful.
Oh yeah, of course. But they're expensive. They're more expensive.
Oh yeah.
Johnson used to keep tropical freshwater fish. I did too, and then they died because I didn't maintain the tank closely enough.
Tropical freshwater fish. I didn't think there was any. I thought there were.
I can tell you that that Tony Burkett, the designer of the Ostfront Quintet, is going to be from MMP. Only 2 of which are out. The other one will probably be on pre-order pretty soon. Has they drove to David Glance's house and had a day with Glance. So I would vouch for Tony and company's OB work in that specific subset of games too. This is true. And Brian Mulville says, "Yeah, I understand."
Come on, Brian. For God's sakes, man.
We could spend a whole show just on this. Of course.
Absolutely. Maybe we should.
I remembered this.
Stargate
42 is a very, very solid game.
John, when I see you, I'm gonna kick you in the knee.
Pretty Salvi dabbles in design, professionally designed and designed television, fashion, photography before settling down in IT. I think a lot of people end up in IT after a mixed trajectory like that. That's just my personal experience, though. Jeff Bailey classifies PC war games as war games. Sure, no problem. If in this context we're talking about now, yeah, absolutely. Boomerman Dan Webb just received 3 days of Gettysburg, Army of the Potomac, and Thunderbolt. Which is awesome. Mine is allegedly in the post. Well, I'm not allegedly. I'm being a wise ass. It's in the post. There's a tracking number and all that, and it ought to be here like Tuesday, I think.
So I'm assuming Boomerman like Dan Webb doesn't have a hobby other than wargaming.
Well, we all kind of do, don't we? You do, and I do, and a bunch of other people do. Dark in Space is not on YouTube anymore. That's unfortunate. So. Michael Pratt prefers having physical DVDs and Blu-rays, as those don't vanish from a streaming service. I can sympathize with this. And if you go to you can get a lot of stuff cheap too, if you're willing to like trawl garage sales and thrift stores and that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, Jesus. It's true, man. Vet bills for a horse and Mike Bertuccelli. Get a free horse. It'll be the most expensive gift you ever got. Hey, Mike, what does it cost to feed one horse for 1 month? I'm curious.
If Mike knows that number off the top of his head, I'd be curious, and I will use this next time my wife says, "Boy, I'd like to have a horse farm." So,
yeah, Mike Bertuccelli says no.
Yeah, Mike's shipment is on its way, as is mine. So that's awesome. When it arrives, I will be very excited. And of course, there will be unboxing videos of those 3 particular games that were previously mentioned. Pretty Salvian says that most wargamers in the late 70s transitioned into PC wargaming. Hence, wargaming has never been more popular. Is this? I mean, we said this, and I have no reason to doubt this like as a phenomenon, but I mean, is it true that most wargamers jumped over to computer games? I'm not positive that it is. I know more wargamers that hopped out of wargaming and went into general board games.
Well, I'm sure that when it came out, the PC war games, there was a probably 98% jump to see what it's like, and then whatever.
Yeah, but my experience with that might be suboptimal too, because most of the PC war games I've played have been disappointing to me as a war gamer on one level or another. So, not that there aren't good ones, including some good ones I haven't played, but because of that attitude, I haven't played that many of them. So, I did play Panzer General back in the day. I remember that, and that wasn't bad. Michael Scherer received Army of the Potomac 3-Dog Deluxe, Thunderbolt Deluxe, and Commands and Colors Grand Battles. I believe I have decided to dump my substantial Commands and Colors Napoleonics collection and only keep the core box. But in order to do that, I will need to sort it all back out again. And that I do not look forward to that endeavor. So Mike says, Pretty Salvian says feeding a typical horse costs between $200 and $400 a month for hay, grain, and supplements in 2026.
And Mike says it's $100 a month for, and he has 4 horses, so $400 a month. I find that actually reasonable.
For 4 horses, that doesn't sound that unreasonable. I mean, we spent about $50 a month to feed the dog.
Yeah, that's $400 a month for 4 horses.
Okay, well, even so, I don't know that doesn't sound that crazy.
I think that's reasonable.
Considering a horse is a lot bigger than most dogs. Fire Must has a shipment a couple days away, and soon to be followed by Old School Tactical Volume 5. Steel Panthers I played too. That was pretty fun. Richard Lord never transitioned into playing 15 PC games. I know that this was like said that, this is definitely happening. But other than by some, names who you would consider authoritative, like Jim Dunnigan, who, decreed in the Complete Wargamers Handbook that analog war games are going away and they're going to be replaced by PC games, and I just don't feel like I've seen that happen particularly. There's certainly a lot of us will dabble in PC war games, me too, from time to time, but I know I think more analog war gamers that never touch computer games of any kind.
Well, Richard, was Richard an Avalon Hill fan?
Well, remember they had the PC adaptations of the Avalon Hill games back in the day. Pretty Salvage says you got the horse feed, you got the stalls, the land, all that stuff. It is a major, exactly. Guinea Secretary has a VM. I've got this weird phenomenon where I set up a VM and then I use it for like a couple of days and then it ceases to be accessible for some reason. And I have not yet expended the effort to troubleshoot exactly what's going on there.
Thank you, Ibid.
So, yeah. So there's other costs. I think in this case, Mike's just talking about the feed alone. So,
but Mike, me knowing you now, that's chump change, right?
I have not played Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2, but I have played the first one, which I do think is quite a strong game. The Admiral's Edition, War in the Pacific, I have not gotten into that. The interface is super primitive, which is a turn off for me, and I think it's just kind of too much. It's like daily turns or something like that for the whole Pacific War. It's like, really? I don't know. It would be, I might as well play, War in the Pacific. I would rather just play War in the Pacific than do that. And very much transitioned from board war games to occasional PC war games in the 80s and only made his return about 4 years ago. I agree. I like analog games better than computer games for a variety of reasons, personally. Part of it is, like, of course, the social angle where you're hanging out with people that you presumably like.
But let's say you like playing solo games.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a different experience, right? I do solitaire stuff from time to time. It's just you're not really having the same experience. It's less social and more intellectual, I suppose.
A solo? Doing solo?
Yeah. Because it's all in your head. You're the only person playing. You're not talking to anybody.
I'm happy like that, man.
So it could even be a creative enterprise, right? We've seen people on BGG who have like played a game out and then written up an after action report narratively that describes the action of the game.
And I'm sure they're cool.
Into that. Absolutely. I used to be super into reading the series replays in general, actually, even if I had no idea what the game was.
Did you
I would read the series replays because it was a cool narrative depiction a lot of times of what happened.
Did you change your voice in your head when you were reading it?
Josh! Only if Churchill was quoted.
I love doing that, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, this is true, too. There is considerable labor involved as well.
Hey, Danny, let me tell you something. Danny, let me educate you. Mike Bertuccelli is Italian. He has a big garden. That horse shit is being recycled.
Well, you still got to recycle it, though. It's not like you just direct the horse to the garden and say, poop here.
Oh, for God's sake.
So Michael Lynch got into started getting into gaming by cannibalizing multiple games to create his own game and making the rules up. 70s kid. Yeah, I did this too back in the 70s, actually. I had this kind of elaborate dungeon-y thing based on what I thought Dungeons and Dragons was like, and it was not particularly like that. Before I was exposed to actually playing D&D, I'd heard of it because I knew kids who were playing it. Danny Secretary says that one of the best parts of War in the East is having to change the train tracks from Russian to German. This sounds crazy, but I actually enjoy having to manage this element in OCS too. In most OCS games, at least, you do need to do Eastfront OCS games. At least you do need to do things like rail conversion.
Well, that's a bit fiddly for a small game, man.
Yes, that's because I'm crazy. Small game. What the fuck game are you talking about? The number of small, like actually small OCS games is exactly one. That's Luzon. Even Sicily 2 is not that small.
I did not know that.
It's a regular sized game. They might, but I'm not your expert when it comes to that stuff. But Danny says they do. Lee Grant, I am very sympathetic to this too. Spends 10 plus hours a day in front of the computer and doesn't really feel like wargaming in front of the computer.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Totally understand. All right, John C. Send
yes,
to me, John. Ardwulfslair@gmail.com. I'm pretty sure you have my email address.
Great idea.
Yeah, we'll take suggestions. Hell, Dan, I will take Dan's suggestions for show topics.
Damn, John, you're in it 100%.
Every once in a while. John, I'm pretty sure your suggestion will be higher than Dan's.
And what the hell does that mean?
Actually, but you might as well make it fun. If you're playing a solitaire game, you might as well have fun with it. So if this is contributing to that, then I'm all for it.
Man,
you and your imaginary friends get the seal of approval.
My gamer friend Bobby Bala came over and we played Revolver last night, and we put on some Western music. Christ, was I depressed?
I can understand that.
I mean, Jesus.
Dan Webb says his younger brother bragged about working for the traveling circus until the family visited him and saw him shoveling the elephant poop. But hey, you work for, that is a cool, you got to admit that is cool. Yeah, I used to work with a traveling circus. You got to admit that's a colorful background bullet point.
Well, how many times have you shoveled elephant shit?
I have never.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Shit, and I have no intention of doing so anytime soon.
I used to shovel human shit.
Well, yeah, I know.
And that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Yeah, Wargame Design Studio has some stuff that I do think is worth keeping an eye on. From what I can tell, the interfaces are still a bit rickety, and they've of course picked up the John Tiller stuff too. But I would actually really kind of like to examine some of their current output in depth. This is interesting. Mike was working on a factionalized fantasy game where you control the bad guys and the good guys at the same time, like Russian Civil War, called Good Against Evil. There was a God game PC God game years ago called Black versus White or something or Black and White or something like that. That was kind of it was a good versus evil type of thing, and you could play it either way. And as I recall, there was somebody in analog gaming that that we would recognize his name that worked on that too. And I don't remember who that was off the top of my head. Might have been Eric Lee Smith though, because I know he worked in computer games for a while.
I just threatened Georgie with the water sprayer, the single line that I can aim at the iris of his eye, and he was staring at me while I was pointing it at him, and then I had to put him down.
I'm not going to ask which chemistry class Dan borrowed that bottle from and who his instructor was. So
these are my old cocaine days. You do this.
I have basically totally forgotten this movie. I think I
love that movie.
Too young to appreciate it when it came out.
In a mental health aspect of that movie, that guy being totally delusional, and trust me, I knew people like that heavily delusional. What a genius of a movie. Genius.
Is that a Martin Scorsese film? Am I remembering that right? Or am I just associating it with Scorsese because De Niro's in it?
Right. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know that I remember.
And another movie came to mind was Woody Allen's Zelig. Oh my God, how genius.
I have never watched a Woody Allen movie.
What?
I have never watched a Woody Allen movie.
I don't understand. There is some animosity there when you say Woody Allen.
Well, I mean, Woody Allen may be a creep, but just even aside from before all that started coming out, I don't know. I just wasn't into that stuff.
Wow. So you haven't experienced Sleepers, Sleeper, or any with Diane Keaton?
If I have seen any Woody Allen movie, it would have been Sleeper, because that's the sci-fi one.
Yeah. John Carradine is in that movie.
Oh, okay. Robert Carradine just passed away not that long ago.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So much for that Revenge of the Nerds reunion movie. It's a shame he was best known for that rather than The Wild Bunch, if you ask me, but there you go. Does Dan use the mushrooms to play his solitaire games opposed?
It depends if I'm having a morel risotto mushroom before my game.
Okay. There's different kinds of mushrooms.
All right.
To take away from.
All right.
All right. Jonathan Dyer says it was Scorsese.
Yeah, I'm assuming it could. Hey, man, you've never seen it, Artie?
King of Comedy?
Yeah.
No, I have seen it. I have just almost completely forgotten it.
It's man. It reminds me of. Are you a Ricky Gervais fan?
No.
Why wouldn't you be?
Why would I be?
Okay, that's a good question.
But I like Amon Duel too, Dan. I mean, why would I be a fan of Ricky Gervais?
Because he did a series called Derek, which is genius.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. I'm completely unaware of it, totally off my radar.
Genius!
Just got NATO, The Cold War Goes Hot, but it's a fantastic game. And the rule book is long, but it's also verbose in a good way. So the game's not as complicated as it looks. And you will, once you've gone through it you'll kind of know where everything's at. It's easy to find stuff in that rule book. It's a very good rule book. I also don't find Woody Allen funny. Okay. So there's that too.
Can I make an observation?
But I'm weird when it comes to comedy. I have weird taste when it comes to comedy.
You got Italian blood, eh, Artie?
Yeah, almost half.
So Italians and the Jews are the same people. If you think about the way they chastise their kids, the guilt, the this and the that, I figured you'd get that part. You know what I mean?
I'd have to actually see one of the movies to get that part. I'll tell you, I filmed that. Oh, what was it? Shit, what was it called? There's a movie. There's an old movie with, I want to say, Andrew McCarthy and a couple other people. Donald Sutherland was in it. I'm trying to remember the name of this film. The standout character, though, it's like a cameo, is Wallace Shawn.
Who's that?
Wallace Shawn? You know who Wallace Shawn is. Fazzini from The Princess Bride. Somebody will know the movie I'm talking about. Heaven Help Us. Heaven Help Us. That's the movie. And I went to Catholic school. So that movie... although that was set in the 50s and I went to Catholic school in the late 70s and early 80s. So it was not exactly the same experience, but I saw correspondences there. Oh, this sounds good. Fettuccine Alfredo. I made, my wife made actually turkey tetrazzini last night, and it was pretty good.
Fettuccine Alfredo is actually not Italian. It's American.
The way we make it in America. Yeah, it's an Italian dish. They just make it differently in Italy.
I did not know that, being Italian.
I watch a lot of YouTube. What can I say?
So do I.
This is true, but we still found it fairly easy to play and pretty accessible once we got it going and started moving stuff around. Call it Jeffrey. Jeffrey. I don't get the reference, but it's still hilarious.
John, you better wear a kneecap brace because I swear I'm going to kick you in the knee.
Richard Lord's favorite comedian is W.C. Fields.
Come on.
A little before my time, I'm afraid.
He was so ahead of his time, that guy.
I grew up watching a lot of old black and white movies, though, because, that's what was on, right? On like the syndicated TV stations that we had in Cleveland. They would show a lot of old black and white movies, a lot of which were sci-fi and horror flicks, as typically tends to be the case, because that's what people watch on those kind of channels. And of course, we had the local celebrity TV hosts here in Cleveland as well. There was Goulardi, who ended up going somewhere else for more money, and then Big Chuck and Little John. But prior to that was Big Chuck and Houlihan. But although they still played some of the Houlihan era skits when I was growing up, Houlihan himself was long gone by then. Jack Benny was actually funny. I would agree with that.
I was going to say, Rob, why you still find it funny? Because it's awesome. Funny, Rob. Jack Benny is funny, and John C. is a monster.
That's awesome. Turkey tetrachloride. I love that. As a former chemistry major, I love that. So, Heaven Help Us is the name of that movie, and that's a great movie.
Morgan Freeman?
No. Donald Sutherland, Andrew McCarthy, Walt Shawn, and
Cold War.
The guy that played the sergeant in, I can't remember the actor's name. The guy that played the sergeant in Good Morning Vietnam is in it too, and he's the priest that is the sadistic priest.
What's the setting?
It's like a 1950s Catholic school.
It has nothing to do with,
I think, New York.
It has nothing to do with the Cold War?
No.
Okay.
Well, other than in the most tenuous possible metaphysical way, I suppose.
Right.
But Forrest Whitaker wasn't in it either. I really was Bruno Kirby in it?
I don't know Bruno Kirby.
Yeah, you do. He is Billy Crystal's buddy from the very famous romantic comedy with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
Soap.
What the fuck are you even talking about? When Harry Met Sally, yeah.
Who is he?
He's dead. So don't worry about it. He's also in The Godfather Part 2 as young Clemenza.
No way.
And he was in Good Morning Vietnam.
I love that guy.
JT Walsh, thank you. Somebody else may have mentioned it first, but that is JT Walsh. That's who I'm thinking of. Was also in just an enormous amount of stuff.
I never saw Good Morning Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a very good movie.
I am sure.
I mean, it's not a war movie, right? It's a movie about a DJ and the war. There is a war in the background.
Yeah.
So if you go into it thinking you're going to see Saving Private Ryan or Full Metal Jacket,
I get it.
You're probably not getting what you signed up for. But
basically, he was the Western White Rose.
Okay.
Hey, there's a parallel, man.
So anyway, I think this was the name of the school. Yeah, St. Basil's Boys Prep School.
Why does that sound Canadian or Quebecer?
I don't know. Is it Basil? Basil is a kind of stereotypical British name, I suppose.
In French, we'd say Basil.
Well, you say whatever you want in French. This is Basil. Which is, of course, a Greek name derived from the same root as Basileus.
Well, how do you know that, Artie? Please explain.
I haven't seen that. I've known that for a long time because I took a Byzantine history class. But we've talked about that in the past.
Yes, I've seen that. I like anything Ken Burns does. Anything. The baseball.
I have not seen as much of the Ken Burns stuff as I would like to. I would kind of like to see. Didn't he do one on jazz or something like that?
Yes, he did.
See, that would be interesting because I don't know dick about jazz.
Yes, it is. It's kind of, you know what I find. I would call it romantic comedy, documentary. Ken Burns.
Okay. I can accept that terminology here. Because romantic documentary.
He wrote it for the lay people, not for the freaking the freaking mellow man.
I think this is definitely going to be the case. Mike says it was set in Brooklyn in the 60s.
Okay.
So
okay,
I did not go to Catholic high school. I went to Catholic. It was all one school, but like grade school and junior high. So through 8th grade.
I went to Catholic school.
And look how he turned out. Look how both of us turned out, making videos on YouTube.
Look at me.
Sitting there in the dark.
Learn
alone
from
with his cat.
Learn from me.
And his miniature figures.
God, that sounds pathetic.
It does. I know. That's why I said it.
It sounds pathetic.
Hey, man, I'm not claiming to be magnificently different here.
Is that my life, man?
In any substantive sense. It's your life until you decide to go out and get a new life from doing something else.
I don't want a new life. I want to be a grognard.
Everybody should have a hobby.
You know what? I've owned my right to be grumpy, okay?
Oh, I didn't say anything about being grumpy. You could be grumpy.
I'm grumpy.
That just makes sense. Dan Webb went to Catholic elementary school in the 60s where the nuns would go through a couple of wooden yardsticks a year. I can actually only remember one actual beating taking place during my tenure of 8 years of Catholic grade school. That doesn't mean there weren't more, but I can only recall the one. And I think he did something really extreme, like took a dump in Sister Teresa's desk drawer or something like that.
Well, in dog psychology, that's a message.
I suppose it is. John C. was educated by Jesuits. Given the history of the Philippines, I don't know what the educational system of the Philippines looks like at all.
John,
but if you're going to go to a Catholic institution to get an education at anything, really, if it's a Jesuit-run institution, it's probably a pretty good education.
I guess,
irrespective of any theological things you may or may not agree with. Danny saying, well, Danny, you have amounted to a moderator here at Ardwulf Lair. Thank you very much for your service. Danny is a successful fellow. Do not fear.
God damn, those nuns, man. Some of them were psychotic.
At least, some of them were very sweet ladies. Some of them were very sweet ladies.
Yes.
I recall with great affection, Sister Marilyn. She was a very sweet woman.
Absolutely.
I recall other nuns in less fond terms.
Well, less fond terms. There's no grays when it comes to nun characters. It's either super sweet, gorgeous, beautiful, I love you, please be my mother, or you're gonna die.
I don't know if I completely agree with that, but maybe in my experience, it was sweet lady, and then a large gap, and then but somewhere before you get to total monster, there was just general bitch. So
no.
We had very little interaction in general in school. We had very little interaction with the priests, unless you were an altar boy, which I was. So
that doesn't sound good.
So, well, no, I mean, we just, we had, of course, a weekly mass that was part of school. And, you'd see the priest up there and that. And it was, other people would show up, but it was mostly a mass for the students. But I got to interact with all of the priests, mostly who were pretty nice guys. And no, there are no jokes that have resulted from that.
I used to be an altar boy, believe it or not. And I would sit there with the bells, right?
Right.
Catholic church. And I never knew when to ring those bells. I needed a cue from the priest.
They tell you when to ring the bells.
Well, no, not my priest.
Right after this, ring the bell.
No.
Or light the candle, or put out the candle, or take the whatever, put the cloth away, or whatever it is.
No, they're not. I don't know what church you went to, but mine was like, and the Lamb of God. And you're supposed to ring the bell. I never knew.
Okay. So the sheep will come for the sacrifice? That sounds weird.
So I rung that bell many times, and the priest said no.
Not now. Can you imagine that? Sitting in mass. Not now, Dan.
Not yes, absolutely not now. Shit.
That is fantastic. So I don't, it's weird that we both were actually. And I stuck with that through like the whole time I was in, up through 8th grade too.
No,
so for about probably 5 years, I was an altar boy.
No, me was elementary school, like maximum 5th grade.
Okay. Well, I didn't go too much longer than you. I assume this will be what Dan's laughing at. I actually don't think that I don't think that comes out of left field at all, because Dan has a musical background. To me, this makes sense because there's music at church, right? So and that's one of the ways in which people get introduced to playing music is through religious function, right? No. The weird part of this story is that I was an altar boy. So that Dan was an altar boy doesn't surprise me in any way, although I believe he has mentioned it in the past, as have I. I don't know if I've done so on this show.
Artie, that's hilarious. You being an altar boy, did you have glasses on too?
Oh yeah, I've worn glasses since like the 2nd grade. So,
oh God, man, you're killing me.
I would actually, I don't like Top Gun. I got to be completely honest.
I don't like Top Gun either. I
kind of like to see this, to be honest. It's a matter of getting, what streaming service is it on? Are we subscribed to that right now? No. So we're going to wait and watch it, and maybe it'll get forgotten about in the meantime. I would kind of like to see it.
Artie, I'll tell you something else about movies. I watched a movie that my daughter suggested. She is 26, and she said it's awesome, and William Dafoe is in it. It was Nosferatu. 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. It was the most piece of shit movie that personally I have ever seen. But IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, it's 7+. I don't get it.
See that? That's the Robert Eggers Nosferatu.
God damn, the dialogue. Please, I get it. You know what I mean? Jesus.
It's very stylized, right?
Nah, it's too. Yeah, well, I ain't reading a book. I'm watching a movie.
I'm trying to remember the other vampire movie that Willem Dafoe was in with John Malkovich, where it's about it's not Kiss of the Vampire. That's got Nicolas Cage in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. This one is somebody will probably put it in the chat. This has, it's about the making of the F.W. Murnau Nosferatu, and Dafoe in that plays Max Schreck, basically as Count Orlok.
He's fantastic.
So Shadow of the Vampire. Thank you. Mike had it. William Byrd had it. Several other people. So I'd like to see that. And Every Day pulled it out too.
And that's a great movie, Shadow of the Vampire.
I like Willem Dafoe a lot. I'll tell you what, man. You know what movie made me a fan of Willem Dafoe though? Was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Really? He played Green Lantern, I hope.
He played. No, he played Green Goblin in that. Okay, but there's a scene in that where he's like having a dialogue with himself in the mirror. And I don't know if that was like enhanced by special effects or not, but wow, it's good. That's some great acting.
Mark Herman, now is the time to come in. Really?
Mr. Mark Herman.
We were banding around your name an hour ago.
Yeah, and now we have a minute left. So,
Mark, what can I say?
It's too late. You could, I'll tell you what, let's have Mark on again sometime soon. We've got Russ Gifford of SPI Alive lined up for next Sunday, folks. So be sure to tune in for that. This is an event that Russ started at Historicon, I think, last year. And of course, I wasn't there. But from the pictures and from the reports from people who were, it sounded amazing. And they're doing it again this year. And I believe tickets will be going on sale for that event pretty soon.
Actually, Mark asks, was there a question? Mark, you being in the preeminent situation, I had said before that the culture of Italian mothers and Italian and Jewish mothers are almost exactly the same. You being in that situation, would you agree? And
I guess we're waiting on Mark's response to that incredibly detailed and specific question.
Yeah, but
this is just
I have a connection to that.
This involved. I'm completely prepared to believe that there is a considerable correspondence between stereotypical Italian mothers or Italian American mothers anyway, and stereotypical Jewish mothers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can, and Mark agrees. So there we. And Mark's married to a beautiful Italian woman, so he knows.
We got garlic from the Jews, man.
So yeah, my wife's Mexican. She's not Jewish, so I can't tell you.
Hey, I'm glad you answered, Mark.
It's a great line delivered with exactly the right amount of smarm by Willem Dafoe in that movie. He's got a cameo in the second one too that's equally good. But do not doubt that Willem Dafoe can act. He absolutely can. I want to see that movie with him and the Twilight guy, Robert Pattinson, where they're the old lighthouse. Yeah, they're
fantastic.
I've heard that. What's that called?
Lighthouse.
Is it called Lighthouse?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm going to look that up. And you've just reminded me that I want to see the Robert Eggers Nosferatu as well. He plays I don't forget what the character's called because it's been, it came out in 1920.
William Dafoe?
He plays basically the Van Helsing analog in Nosferatu.
Exactly.
So, and Dafoe was great in Platoon too. That's true. I didn't see that until after that though. So, all right, I guess it is called Lighthouse. All right, folks. So we are out of time. I want to thank everybody for coming by this evening. Next week, remember, we have Russ Gifford on to talk about SPI Alive at Historicon.
Is that Kathy Gifford's dad?
No. Well, we can ask him when he comes on next week. I will. Just so you know, Russ, Dan's going to be asking a large number of totally absurd and off-the-wall questions. You're okay with that, right? Russ will be cool with that.
The guy says yes. Huh? You're going to eat your shorts.
Well, I don't want him to back out because he thinks you're insane. So, because I want to talk to Russ. We wanted to have Russ on the show for a while, and now's the right time for that because they're about to open registration for that event. And it did sound really awesome last year. All right, folks, we are out of time. Everybody have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you all again soon.